Back in 2020, big Twitter influencers, including Elon, Jeff Bezos, and Kanye, tweeted out links to double your Bitcoin all on the same day. Now, you might have thought this hack was genius, but behind the scenes, so many dumb mistakes were made. Had it been someone else, they could have stolen 10 or 100 times more money and gotten away with it. This botched hack was all over after just 12 hours, but still came away with $4 million. So we're going to dive into this fast-moving hacking story of Bitcoin and betrayal, which has a twist, which leads to a pretty messed up ending. But first, if you want to stay informed about tech events and knowledgeable about tech stories, then run this code in your console to like and subscribe. And if it doesn't work, YouTube changed their HTML. Sorry you typed that out. Let's get started. On a July afternoon in 2020, something weird was happening on Twitter because the crypto exchange Binance tweeted that it was giving back $50 million of Bitcoin to the community. Shortly after, a similar tweet came from some of the biggest celebrity accounts. When Twitter passwords get cracked, usually that'll give you access to a single account, but this was 10 plus accounts at the same time, so something else was going on here. Logically, it seemed the only way all these accounts could be hacked at the same time would be someone with an in on the back end of Twitter. The story begins with Kirk, a rogue Twitter employee, whose first blip on the radar was a Discord server in the morning, who claimed to have admin access to the Twitter backend, and he was on Discord because he needed help selling OG username assets on the black market. If you don't know, OG usernames are @names that are in high demand. They're usually very short, their first names, or generally rare words that only early Twitter users would have been able to claim. Now naturally, a lot of these accounts are inactive, so reassigning them to new people, well, chances are the owner would not even notice. And being on the inside of Twitter, Kirk had the power to sell these. The problem was he had no idea how to find buyers, hence him searching for help on Discord, and he would find it from two anonymous users called LOL and Ever So Anxious. Now they had to sell these names fast before anyone would notice, so in just the single Wednesday morning, they were able to find buyers for @6, @dark, @w, @l, @50, @vague, among many others on a site called ogusers.com. Kirk's associate Anxious even took the username Anxious for himself, which, when you're doing illegal stuff, seems like a pretty big mistake. From the beginning, that wasn't the only mistake they made. First, all their communications were happening on Discord, which go through a server and are not peer-to-peer. In other words, these messages were logged on the Discord servers and could easily be pulled. On top of this, since they were selling these usernames very fast, they were only able to get low values for them. For example, they only got $1,500 for the username @y. Finally, all Bitcoin transactions are public, which makes them extremely easy to trace, especially if they're all going to the same account. All these mistakes aside, the team was able to acquire about $40,000, of which Kirk kept $33,000, meaning one of the associates, Anxious, came away with $3,500 in total, and keep that in mind for later. It was at this point where Anxious in particular, he went to bed because he was from the UK, believing that he made a clean $3,000 in a day, but little did he know when he woke up his worst nightmare would be coming true. Because it was after Anxious went to bed that Kirk decided to take things into his own hands and ramp things up while he still had this access. That's when he took over accounts for Coinbase, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Kanye, and in total 45 influencer accounts, rolling out "I'll double your crypto" tweets on all accounts and linking to a site called cryptoforhealth.com. Needless to say, reaching followers through these trusted influencer accounts almost immediately racked up $117,000. But if you're going to try to run a crypto scam, maybe a better idea to fly under the radar of the exchanges, because Coinbase and Binance, who Kirk had also hacked, almost immediately caught on to this, and they started to block transactions. Naturally, this scam was so high profile that Twitter took notice too and immediately changed its admin security rules, locking Kirk out. And just like that, after securing less than $200,000, it was all over. Now, this hack was so sloppy that after just a few days, all three users, LOL, Anxious, and Kirk, were caught. And then the twist was revealed that Kirk was not a Twitter employee at all. He was just 17 years old, and he was still in high school in Florida. Now, Clark, he was actually already famous in the hacking world, starting his criminal career at just 12 years old by scamming people on Minecraft, selling what's called capes, which is perceived as a badge of honor in the Minecraft world. Now, even though Kirk had managed to get access to the Twitter admin interface remotely, without any inside help. So, in terms of hacking street cred, this is as high as you can go, which, if done more carefully, meaning this could have been an 8 or 9 figure hack, flying completely under the radar for months on end, but it was done in the most messy way possible. In fact, it's almost comical, but the thing is, Kirk will be laughing too in just a few years. While hacking is a extremely serious US federal charge, since he was a minor, Kirk had a plea deal and he had his federal charges dropped, getting only 3 years in prison rather than a 10-year minimum if he was just 1 year older. But here's where the story gets really crazy. They could only trace $200,000 of this money, but Kirk was found with another $3 million in his bank account. However, there was no paper trail, so they could not confiscate this money. He still has it today. So whether this $3 million came from this Twitter hack and the source was obscured, or whether it came from a different operation, one thing's for sure, he didn't get that in a white hat way, and he's keeping it. But all things considered, there's one person who is definitely not laughing, and this is where the story gets messed up. Anxious from Discord turned out to be a 20-year-old from the UK named Mason Shepard. And recall, Anxious helped to sell the usernames and was able to get $3,500 as a commission for doing so. But being 20 years old, Mason Shepard is not a minor, and he's facing US federal charges that are so serious that he's facing extradition. That is, the UK government would arrest him and send him to the US to be charged. And his charges are up to 45 years in prison just for being involved. Here's the term sheet of his federal charges, which you can see add up quite steeply. Keep in mind, Shepard did not steal the usernames. He wasn't even involved in the hack that was tweeting things out. He was just an accomplice and posted the usernames on the site ogusers.com. And for that small decision in a single afternoon, he's facing 45 years. Shepard said, unsurprisingly, encountering Kirk was the worst mistake I've ever made due to the fact it put me in issues I had nothing to do with. If I knew Kirk was gonna do what he did, or even from the start, knew he was a hacker posing as a Twitter employee, I would not have wanted to be a middleman. So that's what happened behind the scenes in the 2020 Twitter hack. The crazy part is Kirk is going to be out of jail in just 1 more year, and whether he'll go the white hat way, releasing open source hacking software like Sammy Kamkar, or if he'll continue to perpetuate larger and larger scams, getting smarter as the years go by about covering it up, it's easy to have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of him. Thanks for spending this time with me, and hope you'll stick around for more stories in the future.